It began on a night when power shimmered brighter than the chandeliers. The Grand Marlowe Hotel in Ocean of Glass and Gold was hosting the annual Summit of Titans, a gathering where billionaires congratulated each other for being billionaires. Cameras flashed. Journalists whispered. Every guest sparkled with diamonds, champagne, and ego. But amid the glitter, one man didn't belong, or so they thought. His name was Jonathan Mercer, tall, composed, wearing a simple black tuxedo and a quiet smile. He wasn't there to impress. He was there because he'd been invited, a board member, a partner in one of the largest tech energy deals in the country. But no one in that glittering hall knew his name yet, and that was the problem. When Jonathan walked into the gala hall, the hostess, a woman in a diamond collar, looked him up and down. Her smile faltered. "Excuse me, sir," she said coldly. "This is a private event. Guests are by invitation only." He handed her his sleek digital pass. She glanced, frowned, then turned to the head of security. "Would you please confirm this gentleman's credentials?" Whispers began. Cameras turned. People paused their laughter to see the uninvited man causing a scene. Security stepped forward, two tall guards. "Built like marble statues, sir. Please step aside," one said. "This event is for registered guests." Jonathan's calm never wavered. He replied softly, "Then you'll find my name on the host's list. Mercer, Jonathan Mercer." But the hostess wasn't listening. She looked at him like he was invisible. Or worse, like he was trespassing in their world. That's when the moment came, the one that would echo through headlines for months. A loud, mocking laugh broke from across the room. It was Charles Wentworth, heir to the Wentworth fortune, a billionaire, known for his arrogance as much as his money. He walked over, champagne in hand, surrounded by sycophants. Well, Charles smirked. "What's next? Are we letting the help in now?" Laughter rippled. Phones rose. Cameras blinked red. Jonathan stood still. His eyes didn't flicker, his hands didn't clench. He simply said, "I'm a partner in the Helios project. Mr. Wentworth, I belong here." Wentworth smirked wider. "Partner? Oh, you? That's adorable." He leaned in, voice dripping with condescension. "Listen, friend, you're standing in a room worth more than your life. How about you take a photo at the door and feel like you made it?" The crowd laughed again, loud, cruel, and eager for spectacle. A waiter carrying a tray of drinks passed by. Wentworth, half drunk on his own arrogance, snatched a glass of champagne and splashed it at Jonathan's shoes. "Oops," he said. "Guess you'll need to shine those again." That moment, caught by half a dozen cameras, would later become one of the most replayed clips in digital history. Jonathan looked down, then up again, eyes steady as stone. "You just made a very expensive mistake," he said quietly. Wentworth laughed. "Oh, did I?" Jonathan smiled once, small and controlled. "Don't worry, you'll realize it soon." And with that, he walked away past the crowd, past the cameras, past the guards who had no idea they had just witnessed the opening scene of their own undoing. Jonathan Mercer wasn't just anyone. He was the founder of Ardent Systems, a data intelligence firm, quietly running some of the world's most powerful AI infrastructures. His company powered national grids, banking systems, and security frameworks for governments. What the crowd at the gala didn't realize was simple. Jonathan didn't need to beg for access to power. He was power. Yet Jonathan had never been one for spectacle. His success was built on integrity, patience, and precision. His philosophy was simple. True power doesn't shout. It whispers and the world still listens. After leaving the gala, Jonathan sat in his car, still wearing his damp shoes. The city lights outside looked like falling stars. He replayed the humiliation in his head, but not in anger. In calculation, his assistant, Mia, called. "Jonathan, I saw the clip. It's already viral. Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. Are you okay?" He exhaled slowly. "I'm fine. They're calling it the billionaires. Mistake. The internet's furious." "Good," he said quietly. "Then let's make sure the right people see it." Mia hesitated. "What do you mean?" "I mean," he said, eyes narrowing, "start tracing the Helios accounts. See who holds what, and when their public contracts renew." She paused. "Jonathan, are you going after them?" He didn't answer directly. "Never underestimate what happens," he murmured. when quiet men are pushed too far. The next morning, the headlines exploded. Billionaire mocked black executive at charity gala. Wentworth Empire faces backlash after viral video. Who is Jonathan Mercer? The clip was everywhere. Charles Wentworth's smug face, his cruel joke, the champagne splash all replayed in slow motion. But the most haunting image was Jonathan's calm expression. No anger, no shouting, just a steady knowing look. Within days, brands began to distance themselves from the Wentworth Group. But Jonathan didn't post a thing. He didn't tweet, didn't give interviews, didn't even acknowledge the chaos. Instead, he was working quietly with precision. He met with 2 board members from Helios, the joint energy tech venture between Ardent Systems and Wentworth Holdings. They looked nervous. Jonathan, one said, you know the footage is damaging. The board's in panic. Charles is refusing to apologize. Jonathan nodded. That's his choice. But what's yours? They asked. He leaned forward. Mine is simple. Effective immediately. Ardent Systems withdraws all licensing rights from Helios. The room went silent. You can't just do that, one stammered. We're partners. Jonathan smiled faintly. Not anymore. The partnership agreement includes a clause. Termination for reputational damage affecting shareholder integrity. I believe this qualified. It did, and that single sentence spoken with calm precision began a chain reaction that would dismantle a billion-dollar empire. Within 72 hours, Helios's stock plunged 47%. The press called it the Mercer effect. Charles Wentworth tried to spin it as corporate sabotage. But the public wasn't buying it. Every investor, every stakeholder, every journalist could see what was happening. Jonathan didn't have to destroy them. They were destroying themselves. Then Jonathan made one phone call. It was to Clara Simmons, CEO of Vanguard Energy, a global competitor. Clara, he said, how would you like to acquire a controlling stake in Helios before the market closes? Her tone sharpened. Are you serious? Completely. I'll transfer Ardent's shares at 60% value if you agree to retain the staff and liquidate the Wentworth Holdings. She paused, realizing what this meant. You're collapsing them. He answered softly, no, I'm liberating everyone they built on arrogance. The deal went through that same afternoon. By evening, the Wentworth dynasty had lost control of its crown jewel, and the internet was watching every minute of it, live. The following week was chaos for the Wentworth family. Charles Wentworth's face, once grinning from magazine covers, was now plastered across headlines with the word downfall. Sponsors fled. Contracts dissolved. His father, Richard Wentworth, summoned him to the family estate, a fortress of wealth and pride. What have you done? Richard barked. Do you realize what this costs us? 40 years of reputation gone because you couldn't control your mouth. Charles, exhausted and angry, threw the newspaper aside. It was a joke. He overreacted. Overreacted? Richard roared. He destroyed you without saying a word. You embarrassed a man who built half the infrastructure we depend on. Charles slammed his glass on the table. He's nobody, just some... Stop! Richard's voice cut like thunder. You will apologize. Publicly. Immediately. But it was too late. Jonathan Mercer didn't want an apology. He wanted accountability. He didn't humiliate them in return. He didn't post their failures online. He simply bought, sold, and redirected, like a chess master removing each piece until the board was empty. 3 weeks later, the Wentworth Group filed for bankruptcy protection. Charles disappeared from the media, reportedly under investigation for financial fraud. And Jonathan? He never spoke a word about it publicly. When reporters finally reached him at a quiet press conference, he stood behind a podium, dignified as ever. Mr. Mercer? A journalist asked. What do you have to say to those who think you took revenge? Jonathan paused, then said, Revenge is loud. Justice is silent. I simply protected my name and the dignity of every person who's ever been told they don't belong. The room fell silent. Months later, the world had moved on, but not. But one night, alone in his office overlooking the skyline, Jonathan watched the old viral clip again, the champagne splash, the laughter, his own stillness. He smiled slightly. Never shout when silence can shake empires, he whispered. That clip, that moment of humiliation, had become a symbol not just of revenge, but of something deeper, the quiet revolution of respect. Across the world, millions who had ever been overlooked, mocked, or dismissed saw themselves. In that still frame, one man standing calm while arrogance tried to drown him. And they understood something profound. True power doesn't come from wealth. It comes from knowing you don't need to prove it.